Wow, I didn't know it would be so thrilling and joyous. Sipping on the fruit juice, you looked around the bustling area. People were drinking and dancing with loud music blasting in the background. Why not? After working there off throughout the whole week, they came in the city's famous nightclub to enjoy their weekends. They were there for relaxation, whereas you had pulled off a literal forbidden stunt. You had sneaked out of the house without security, and if it wasn't enough, you had not informed your husband either. He was going to be pissed off if he got to know about it, but who was going to tell him? Not you, at least. You had planned to spend a few hours there and then head home before the arrival of your husband. I wish Jimin was here with me, but he has to go to work leaving his beautiful wife. Scrunching your nose in resentment, you took another sip of your fruit juice. All of a sudden, you felt cold chills as if someone was looking at you. You looked around in an attempt to spot that certain someone. Fear crept inside you when you noticed few men's eyes on you. You gulped as their stare crept you out. Tearing your gaze away from them, you gulped the remaining juice in one go. Keeping the now empty glass aside, you rubbed your sweaty palms against the jeans covering your thighs. However, it didn't give much relief, neither to your frantic hurt nor to your rising agitation. I should just leave. I'm not getting good vibes from these men. You mumbled to yourself, feeling their gaze boring through your skull. Rising from your spot, you made your way towards the exit. Where are you hurrying to, sweetheart? We haven't met properly yet. Chills ran down your spine when you heard a familiar voice. Turning around slowly, you came across with a familiar face. What do you want, Victor? You glared at the wicked man standing in front of you. Victor, a little psychopath who was obsessed with you and your husband's sworn enemy. You stirred on your spot when his lips twisted into a sinister smirk. It didn't give you good vibes. Hell, Victor and good like two swords in one sheath. Impossible. He took a step in your direction and you instinctively stepped back, though he was at good 10 feet distance from you. Don't act so naive, sweetheart. You know I only want one thing, and that is you. Now that I have got this magical opportunity to have you, I ain't letting this go. Nada. Tilting his head, he grinned at you, which was enough to churn your insides. You felt a sudden urge to throw up, insinuating your anxiety was on its peak. You clutched your loose jeans in your palms and slowly stepped back. In your dreams, I'm not a thing that any piece of like you can get. I'm a rare gem that only a king can afford, and I think you know who the king is. Words wiped off the grin from his face and anger replaced it. Smirking at him, you swiftly turned around in order to run away, but your hopes of escaping came crashing down when Victor's henchman blocked your way. Cursing under your breath, you looked at the six bulky men who stood like a barrier between you and the door of escape. Now I think sneaking out was a bad idea. You mumbled to yourself and looked between those six goons and their wicked leader. You think I'm scared with these bunch of crooks? You pointed at the man and laughed mockingly. Yes, you were scared, but you were not going to show it because that's what your husband taught you. Showing your weakness to your enemy means losing the half battle then and there. As you had successfully distracted them with your dialogue drama, you held the nearby wine bottle and banged it on the head of one of the bad men. The glass bottle shattered into pieces, some of them pierced in his bald head. He groaned in pain and crouched down on the floor holding his head. Huh, serve you right. Smirked and shifted your gaze from the groaning man to another one who marched towards you. Grating your teeth, you wound your hand in air and attacked on him with the now broken bottle. The spiny edges of bottle pierced through his forearm, cutting his flesh. Hissing in pain, he pressed his wound with his other hand. Using his distraction as an opportunity, you banged another bottle on his head. Can't even take a hit, bloody crybabies. You mocked and poked your tongue out in them. Your happiness of victory lasted only for a moment when the remaining four men charged at you altogether. You gulped and stepped back as they advanced in your direction. You panicked as you were alone against bulky monsters. Additionally, you were at secluded corner away from the crowd, thus there was no one to help you. Hey, stay away. You know who my husband is? If you got to know about it, he will chop you in pieces. And he will start from me. You made a futile attempt to threaten them, but they remained unfazed. Darn it. You stepped forward and kicked on the man's crotch. Your pointy heels showed no mercy in making him infertile. His face instantly twisted with pain and he bent down holding his pained area. Go to hell, loser. You pushed him, which resulted him falling on his companions, and they all fell on the floor. It happened so fast that didn't get the time to process or react about anything. Hastily removing your heels, you took them in your hands and rushed towards the crowd. But Victor, who was peacefully enjoying the drama till now, stood in your way, so desperate to get you stinky, beaten by me. Strolled forward and wound your hand behind before throwing a powerful blow on his face. The heels in your hand perfectly did its work by hitting his nose. You kicked on his stomach and paced towards the crowd of people dancing on the beats of DJ. You knew you had a very less time before Victor ambushed you. Running away would be a foolish idea. Thus, breaking through the crowd, you made your way towards a dark hallway and entered in one of the private rooms. A relieved sigh escaped your lips when you found the room empty. Locking the door from inside, you rushed towards the couch and hid behind it. Sucking a good amount of air, you tried to calm your heart, which was beating at a wild pace. I need to call Jimin. You delved in your pocket and pulled out your phone. Unlocking it, you dialed Jimin's number and held it near your ear, internally praying for him to pick up. The ambience of the meeting room was intense as a serious discussion was going on, but it halted when Jimin's phone went off. Everyone's eyes shifted at him, awaiting him to reject the call so that they could resume the meeting. Jimin sighed and grabbed his phone. A smile made its way to his lips when he saw your name displaying on the screen. He swiped the green button. Yes, my love, I will be home within 30 minutes. He said before you could say anything, but his smile disappeared when he heard your panicked voice. Jimin, Jimin, save me, Victor is behind me. He straightened up, his expressions hardened at the mention of Victor. Where are you right now? He probed, his earlier soft voice turned cold. I at Starlight nightclub. Your voice came out shaky as you were scared of his reaction. I'll be there in 5 minutes. He hung up and stood up with a force and ensured the chair to fall down. Without bothering to say any word to the people awaiting him, he stormed out of there. Robin, his trusted man, followed closely behind. You gulped and stuck more into the couch when you heard the sound of doorknob rotating. You lifted your head and peeked above the couch. Someone was trying to break into the room. The continuous thrusting of the doorknob said it all. Jimin, come fast. You skated towards the dark corner and curled yourself in a ball. Your eyes were stuck at the doorknob, which kept rotating until it stopped abruptly. After a few minutes, the door clicked open. You closed your eyes and hid your face in your knees. You were scared to death. As you heard the sound of footsteps approaching you, you mentally slapped yourself for getting yourself in the situation. Love, hearing your husband's voice, you snapped your head up and a sense of relief washed over you when his face came in your line of vision. Your eyes followed his movements as he crouched down in front of you. You okay? You nodded and snaked your arms around him, nestling yourself against his warmth. You sighed when you didn't feel him hugging you back. Placing your chin on his chest, you looked up at him. Hug me back, please. You pouted, trying to coaxed him with your puppy face, but he just peered at you without any expression on his face. Disappointment was clearly visible in his eyes. You sucked on your lower lip and looked down. Without exchanging a word, he swiftly picked you up and walked towards the door. You buried your face against the warmth of his neck and closed your eyes. You knew he was angry. To be precise, you made him mad. You did something he didn't like, even a bit. You glanced at Jimin and pouted. His gaze was stuck at the road ahead, silently driving in the direction of home. You looked at his free hand, which you usually placed on your thighs. It was now on his lap. Since the time you both settled in the car, neither he uttered a single word nor he glanced at you. You reached out for his hand and placed it on your thigh, but he removed it instantly. Pursing your lips, you again did the same and he again removed it. Whining at his indifference, you poked his arm. I am sorry. I won't do it again. Pronouncing a heartfelt apology, you awaited his reaction, but he remained unfazed as if he didn't hear you. You again poked his arm. I'm sorry, Mr. Mafia. I won't repeat it. Now talk to me, please. Hearing no response from him, you shook his arm. Hello, can you hear me? Are your ears working fine, or should I book an appointment with otolaryngologist? You literally screamed in his ear, but again he reacted like there was no one in the car except him. You puffed your cheeks and sat back on your seat with your arms crossed across your chest, staring at his side profile. You tried to come up with an idea to make him talk to you. Your lips twisted into a smirk as an idea popped in your head. You know, I would have returned back home and you would never get to know about it, but that wizard Victor ruined my plan. You uttered, looking at him. As you expected, he tilted his head to glare at you. You grinned, showing your teeth. I see, your ears are working fine. I am sorry. Please talk to me. Your jaw dropped in disbelief when he rolled his eyes and redirected his eyes at Rod. Jiminnie, aren't you my lovely husband? Won't you talk to your beautiful wife? Won't you look at your love? You clinged on his arm and spoke softly, trying to pester him, but he was adamant on ignoring your sweet words and your adorable expressions. I'm sorry, Jimin. At least listen to me. Jimin, you huffed and stomped your feet in annoyance when he stormed upstairs without sparing you a glance. During the whole ride, you tried every way possible to make him talk to you, but he didn't buzz. Seemed like he was really upset with you. You couldn't blame him though. You had upset him, and that too intentionally. Rude man. He knows I can't bear his ignorance, and he is exactly doing it. You muttered and looked around the living area. A smile curved on your lips when you saw Snow, your cat, looking at you. Hi, Snow. Come here, my baby. You spread your arms and knelt down. Snow looked at you for a few seconds before walking away from there. Did she just did she just ignore me? This kitty? You scolded and stood up. She's just like her owner, sassy and full of attitude. There he is ignoring me and here she. You scoffed at your sad life and trudged towards the stairs. Hearing the water running sound from the bathroom, you sprawled on the bed and stared at the ceiling. What should I do? You tapped on your chin, forcing your brain to engender an utterly effective idea. Should I seduce him? You asked to yourself. Nah, not a good idea. You discarded the idea of seducing him because, as tempting as the idea and its aftermath appeared, you knew it would only calm his libido, not his anger. Your attention shifted towards the bathroom door, which opened, revealing Jimin. He came out drying his wet hair with a towel. A pair of black sweatpants hung loosely around his waist with nothing on top, giving a full view of his well built body. Looking handsomely hot, Mr. Husband. Supporting your head by your palm, you threw a flirty remark towards him and followed by a flying kiss. But as he was hell bent on torturing you by his silence, he said nothing. Come on, Jimin, stop this silent treatment of yours and come here. Give a suggestive smile and open your arms. Instead of getting your husband, all you got a wet towel, that too on your face. Jimin, now you are testing my patience. You removed the towel from your face and looked at him, but he wasn't at his previous spot. Looking around, you found him stepping out of the room. Where are you going, Hoti? You asked, though you knew you wouldn't get any response. You kept lying on the bed like a lazy dog. Here I'm tired, and this sexy husband of mine wants to torment me even more. Pushing yourself off the mattress, you walked in the closet to change into your pajamas and then again get back to mission mollify Jimin. Searching through the whole house, you turned up at his home office. You scolded when you saw him engrossed in his laptop. His one hand was busy typing away while with the other hand he was patting Snow, who was peacefully lying on his desk. Snow baby, you iterated in extra sweet tone. The poor cat got scared for a moment as she shifted toward Jimin. Jimin removed his hand as you picked Snow in your arms. I missed you, my kitty. She looked at you weirdly as if you had grown two horns. You looked at her and smiled, which was nowhere near a soft smile, yet it was a devilish grin. Opening the door, you bent down and put her down on the floor. Listen here, Miss Kitty. I love you, okay? But stop being a third wheel between me and my husband. Night time is all about us, so go and sleep. I'll soon bring a boyfriend for you. Now go, shoo. She growled at you and walked away. You narrowed your eyes at her and stood up. Closing the door, you strolled towards your angry husband. Skidding behind him, you slithered your arms around his neck and placed a kiss on his temple. What are you doing, Hurty? You glanced at the screen and a scowl took over your face when you noticed him working. Jimin, you promised no work at home. You gazed at him and sighed, getting no response. He acted like you weren't there, clinging on his back. Stepping in front of him, you settled down on his lap, spreading your legs on either side of his thighs. Hey, at least look at me. Your eyebrows twitched when he didn't look at you. Instead, kept his gaze on the laptop screen. This is getting too much, Jimin. I apologize many times. Okay, I'll do it again. I'm sorry. Sorry, honey. I won't go out without security next time. You gazed at his eyes, which looked everywhere but you, and dropped your gaze down at his luscious lips. You won't talk to me, right? So that means I can do anything I want. Cradling his face between your palms, you pulled it down and smashed your lips on his. You walked on his upper lip, sucking, nibbling, and biting to your content. He clutched the table to control the urge to pin you down on the table and suck the life out of you, forcing your tongue inside his mouth. You devoured every corner of his mouth. If oxygen weren't required, you wouldn't pull away from him. Breaking the kiss, you panted heavily, a string of saliva still connecting your lips. Sloppy and messy kisses were never your type, but with Jimin, everything felt special and out of the world. So, now you are not going to kiss me back either, but I'm not going to stop. Your kisses traveled from his lips to his cheeks and then to his jaw. You trailed wet kisses along his jawline and stopped at his chin. Nibbling his skin lightly, you looked up. Talk to me, Jimin. He didn't. He kept looking ahead at who knows what. You resumed your kisses down to his neck. Trailing a path of wet kisses along the length of his slender neck, you stopped at his collarbone. You observed him gulping as his Adam's apple moved along with it. Your lips twisted into a smirk. Your kisses were affecting him, but he was pretending to be unfazed about it. But how long would he keep up with this act? His patience was already running thin, and you were not helping either. You decided to extend the level of your kissing torture. You shuddered when you dropped a kiss on his sensitive spot. Sliding one hand on his nape, stroked his scalps, and sensually moved other hand on his bare torso. He sucked a deep breath to get a hold on himself. However, a loud groan is erupted from his throat when you bite his sensitive spot, soothing it with your warm tongue afterwards. He sighed due to how painfully pleasurable it was. As you proceeded to do the same at the other side of his neck, he couldn't hold back anymore and slid his arms around your hips, squeezing your butt. You chuckled and moved your head back to look at him. He looked down at you. Done with your silence? Your words muffled in his mouth as he captured your lips in another toe-curling kiss. Smiling in the kiss, you hooked your both arms around his neck and responded with the same passion. He palmed your lower back and pressed you against him, leaving no room for air to pass through. Parting away, you both stared at each other. You cupped his one cheek, stroking his cheekbone. I am sorry, Jimin. I promise I won't sneak out again. He shook his head and removed your hand from his cheek. Don't promise something you can't fulfill, Ryan. This is the third time you did the exact same thing and making the same promise. Just do whatever you want. Jimin, you trailed off, observing the disappointment on his face. I just want to have a normal outing without bodyguards surrounding me. I warned you, didn't I? Before marriage, not once but upteen time, I reminded you what I do and what your life would be with me. Still, you chose to marry me. Now, don't make me feel bad by mentioning a normal outing. You pouted and fidgeted with your fingers. He was right. When your dad arranged your marriage with Jimin, he clarified everything on first date. He warned you that your life wouldn't be normal. Well, it wasn't normal before your marriage either, but as Jimin had more enemies, the less normal became the least normal. Tell me, Ryan, do I stop you from anything? Do I control you? Did I ever ask you about your whereabouts? Did I ever intervene in your personal choices? You shook your head instantly. Yeah, it was true that he had more enemies, but he never stopped you from anything. Only one thing. I only asked for one thing. Take security with you wherever you go. At least I'll be at peace that you are safe, but you? He sighed and looked away. Let's just leave our life on our choices. You do what you want, and I do as I wish. And right now, I want to work, so kindly get off me. You widened your eyes and shook your head. No, no, Jamin. I promise I won't repeat it ever again. Please don't say like this. I can't stay at peace without ordering you around. Don't be like this. You whined and hugged him tightly. You can stay without ordering me around, but you can't obey one thing that I asked very politely. He looked up and pecked his lips multiple times. This is the last time. I won't sneak out next time alone. Will you sneak out with me? You looked at him with hopeful eyes. He stared at you for a few moments before bursting into fits of laughter. I I can't even stay mad at you. Can you please stop being so adorable? He pinched your cheeks and pecked on the tip of your nose. You smiled and peppered kisses all over his face. Love, on a serious note, don't repeat it ever again. I didn't show it, but I had my heart in my mouth when you said that leech is behind you. You smiled and nodded. I won't, and if I did, you can scold me, or you can even punch me, like this. You held his hand and brought it to your cheek, touching it slightly. That's it? Hmm, I can't take more than this. Your hands only look adorable, but your punches are nowhere near being soft. He chuckled and placed a chapstick kiss on your forehead. Nah, I will stop talking to you. I will stop looking at you. I will stop cooking your favorite meal every Sunday. I will not let you sleep on top of me whenever you want. I will not let you make pigtails of my hair. I won't dress up in women's clothes because you want it. Out and out, I will not do anything you say. Will it be okay? Lips parted and eyes went round in shock. Jimin, you have spoiled me so much. Yes, I did. Saying so, he rose from the chair, picking you in his arms. I had a really rough day at work, and I want you to make it better for me, he said, bouncing you in his arms. You smirked and leaned towards his face. And how can I make it better for you? However, your smirk wiped off with his next words. A full body massage for an hour. He gave you a tight lipped smile and carried you out of the office room. You are such a tease. Nope, you are dirty minded. I don't care if we talk about absolutely nothing. I just want to talk to you.